Hey, what's going on, everybody, for the 100 Line interview series? My name is Nuke, and today we're joined by Ashleigh Haddad. They're the voice of Veshness and Nigo in 100 Line Last Defense Academy, and you can also hear them as the voice of Chang Li in Wuthering Waves and Avlora in Triangle Strategy. Ashleigh, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I've been collecting these VA interviews like the Chaos Emeralds, and while I try not to be biased, I must admit that you voiced my favorite character, the glorious Overlord Veshness. All glory to her. So with that, I try to make this show like Hot Ones, but I think that Hot Wings would be too pitiful for her anyway, and it would be entertaining to have a host like Sean Evans on Hot Ones. So she would appreciate that. So say she doesn't get bored, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I feel like Veshness would eat all of the hot wings and then be like, "Is this the best you've got?" and pull out her own bottle of something way worse and put it on, and yeah, it would shame the host.
Exactly.
Nigo, though, I feel like maybe wouldn't be able to hack it.
No.
He seems like he's got sensitive taste buds, little guy.
So I know that you got your master's at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama. Do you find yourself using theater techniques or vocal warm-ups from your college days when you step into the booth?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's kind of the whole purpose of doing training at a theater school like that is to learn the tricks of the trade that will help you in the real world when you're utilizing your skills on jobs in real life. So there's vocal warm-ups that I still use and that I recommend to other people. There's all the kinds of just like a checklist of things you should remember to do before you go in for an intensive job. And at this point, it's a habit because I've been doing it for so long. But yeah, absolutely. There's stuff I used from college days and still use. And now I teach part-time at the college as well. And so I pass those on to the new generation of students at Royal Welsh. So yeah, absolutely.
Would you say it's been easier to teach them, or has it been easier to use those skills in the booth?
Well, it's easy to use them because I'm so used to doing it at this point. I think it's teaching is a whole different monster than working as an actor. Teaching is hard for an entirely different group of reasons. But the students are so eager to learn about everything and so happy to be there and happy that somebody in the industry is sharing this knowledge with them, and they just hold it and take it with them like it's a valuable little treasure they've been handed. So I like passing the stuff on to the students because they're so excited to learn it.
We got you. And, origin stories is something that I want to start asking more to all the guests that I interview. So, what do you remember about directing and acting in Flicker, Tangle, Fade, and did anything you learned from that era help you in your most recent projects?
My Royal Welsh project?
Yeah.
Flicker, Tangle, Fade? Oh, man. Yeah, that was crazy. So that was that was the final end of year project. In order to earn your master's degree, you had to write, direct, design, and star in your own show. And there could be other people in it as well, but you had to be like front and center and you had to wear all these hats. Extremely challenging. And I would say, what part of it transfers over into 100 Line? Well, I did put voiceover in the show, actually. I had, because it was a stage production, but then I incorporated a lot of voiceover clips in the sound design of the show. And so in that way, had myself kind of doing two different voices, my stage character and the voiceover that would chime in now and then. So I was playing multiple characters in that too, in a way. So I guess that's how that is similar.
I was that was just kind of a question that I thought, like, I wonder if she's like even gonna remember like much about
that. Is so. I've literally never had anyone like do that deep dive and ask me about that show. So you really caught me off guard with that. I was like, how does he know about that?
Good.
That's
exactly the
heart.
response that I wanted. So
I'm like, oh no, what else did he find?
I know you have some roots in Maryland, so I was curious, what's something that the state gets right that the rest of the country just doesn't understand?
Oh, baby, Old Bay, crabs, and I was telling some other actor friends this week about my favorite Baltimore t-shirt that you see. Often it's like people wearing it to baseball games or football games, but also people just wear it around. It says Baltimore versus all of y'all. So like, it doesn't matter who's playing, it doesn't matter what we're doing. Are we playing a sport? Am I just showing up, walking down the street? It doesn't matter. You gotta have the confidence of, oh, I'm sorry, were you about to confront me with something? Because you will lose. It's us versus you. Just something about that attitude of Baltimore's ready to stand up for itself. And I think Maryland is quite good at being proud of being from Maryland. And Baltimore is good at proud at being from Baltimore. And I think you should be proud of who you are. So I'll take that.
Good answer.
But also crabs. Crabs in Old Bay.
I feel like I've heard that so many times from people who are from Maryland.
It's so good.
So talking about 100 line, when you first heard about this concept and landed the role of Nico, what was your initial reaction? Did you think this is goofy and wacky, sign me up? And how did you get involved with the project?
So when I originally auditioned, I auditioned for, like, they sent out an audition with for a bunch of the characters all at once, just to kind of see whose voice you would fit in with. And first they had me audition for a bunch of the girls, a bunch of the student characters. And I did a bunch of those. And then they emailed back and said, actually, can you also audition for this little guy and put Nigo in? And I was like, okay. And I read the brief, and it was like, tiny, military, tiny little military guy. He's kind of a teacher, but also he kind of sounds like Pikachu. And I was like, what? Okay. So, took that note and did the best that I could. And then the casting went, that's the one we're going to have you do. So I started out just as Nigo. And then when I got in there and started working with Tom, the director, as we were recording Nigo, he was like, actually, I have one other character that we haven't cast yet. Can I have you read a couple of these lines? And had me read for Veshness while I was in there. And then was like, okay, we're going to have you do this one too. And I was like, and who is this? And he was like, oh, it's the big bad. And I was like, ooh. So yeah, getting to be those like polar opposite ends of the spectrum as far as characters was really fun and unexpected.
How did you handle switching between such drastically different characters? Did you have to record them on separate days to get into the right mindset, or were there moments you went from recording Nigo to going into full villain mode in one session?
Oh yeah, we did. I mean, every session was full on, regardless of what we were recording. But I definitely recorded Nigo and Veshness at the same time. And fun fact, in case you don't know this yet, because I don't think I've tweeted about this, even though some people on the internet know, I'm also Zan Shin. One of the other commanders, the 9th commander. So there were days also where I would go in there and be 3 different people, and you would kind of finish one character's line, and then they would go, okay, and now let's go back here, and now we have to do some Veshness scenes. Right, and now, here's a point where these 2 characters you are playing talk to each other, and we have to do that. Like, it always gets a little tricky when it's you trying to talk to yourself, but for the most part, you would go through, do a chunk of lines for one character, finish a scene up, and then go, okay, now let's switch into this other voice, just to make sure you're not, giving your voice whiplash.
Got you. So, completely different question. I was just browsing your Twitter, and so I know you're big into pigeons, I think. So I was hoping you could give us your top 3 birds of all time.
Big into pigeons. The pigeon incident at the Cardiff Anime and Gaming Con is probably what you're looking at. There was a pigeon trapped inside the convention center, and it delayed the convention people from coming into the area where we could do signings and stuff. And so it was just a bunch of the vendors and the people in the convention starting jokes about pigeons, and then it just triggered a whole thing. But I do love pigeons. Top 3 birds of all time. Can I use mythical birds? Because I want to say a phoenix. Phoenix has got to be the coolest bird ever. I'll give a shout out to the prehistoric bird that's the first link between dinosaurs and birds, Archaeopteryx. Awesome. And then I'll say peacock. I love the drama and the audacity and the presence of an impressive peacock, and they make the most ridiculous noises, and I respect that.
So on Hot Ones, they pull interesting photos from their guest social media that needs more context, and so I was curious if we could do the same for you here.
Okay, I'm scared, but okay.
All right. What do you remember about this?
Oh, that's me and my giant puppet rat character that I voiced for a commercial for Decon, which is like rodent poison. But the commercial shoot was amazing because they were giant, like Jim Henson style puppets, and the puppeteers who were operating them actually had worked on Jim Henson projects. So I was essentially standing off to the side, voicing the lines while a puppeteer was inside this rat costume and doing this commercial. It was so much fun, and it got me to feel like I was in a Muppet production of some kind for one precious day. Yeah, that's definitely my favorite commercial I've ever done, is the Decon Mouse Party commercial. Find that on YouTube, I'm sure it's there. Fantastic. I play the bougie mouse who's hosting a party.
There you go. And what can you tell me about this guy?
That is Maple. That is a baby crow that hopped out of a tree in our backyard and landed on, it was like over a fence, and landed in our garden, and wasn't good at flying enough to get back out, like over the fence. So I very carefully had to go out there and coax it and convince it I was friend, and picked it up really gently and went to put him over the fence, and he like wouldn't leave my hand for a really long time, and he just sat there and was just kind of looking at me and blinking, and we just had a little moment. We were just friends for a minute, and then I boosted him onto the fence, and I saw him come back every now and then and peek in the garden. And now we're like BFFs with the crows in the backyard, so it really works. If you're nice to corvids, they remember.
Ashleigh Haddad, the bird whisperer.
I'm in my witch era, I tell you.
So going back to 100 line, this was just something I was curious about. If Veshness had to run a Twitter account, what kind of posts would she be making?
Oh my god, if Veshness had to run a Twitter account, like, she would get banned. Well, maybe not these days, but she would probably be leading a group of nefarious Twitter bots and stirrers and people who like to instigate fights and religious zealots, and it would be a dark corner of Twitter for sure.
Just like bots,
and then probably a couple not safe for work photos now and then, just because that's who she is.
Just like bots that would reply to every tweet like, yes, you're so right. Like,
yes, queen. Yes, our almighty Veshness queen. You are the goddess. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this question, there's two questions. They come from Realsicle on Twitter. They firstly wanted to know, what is Nigo's hidden talent that they joke about, or what they speculate it to be?
You didn't see the hidden talent? That's so crazy. He was gonna show it. So if you missed it, that's wild that you didn't get to that ending. It's definitely there. No, Nigo's hidden talent is, the thing is, I've said it before, it would just break the internet if everybody knew. Servers would crash, there would be blackouts everywhere. It would be too much. I don't think the human mind is ready for Nigo's special talent, so perhaps in a way it's a gift that you maybe missed that, because you might not recover from it, unfortunately.
So true. You know, I've been trying to tell that to people.
Yeah, you just have to believe me. You just have to trust me on this. You just have to trust me. It's a blessing and a curse that you didn't get to see it.
And they also wanted to know, how do you think Veshness feels about the other commanders before the Special Defense Academy folks arrived?
Oh, I feel like Veshness, I think the way she thinks about anybody is, how can you be useful to me? You know what I mean? How good at you are at your job, and how does it benefit me? Are you strong, and are you fighting for me? So I think that is entirely, dependent on their relationship and what they were willing to do under her command or by her side. It's all about her.
That's so true. What was it? What was it like delivering those over-the-top villain speeches, and were there any lines that stood out to you?
They were my favorite. They were absolutely my favorite parts. The one of the video that I posted on my Instagram, and I think also on Twitter, where I got to completely lose my shit and just scream at the top of my lungs, that was a really fun day. And there were a couple of lines like that where he was just like, go harder, go even more insane than you're going right now. Let's see how hard we can go it. And then I kind of, blew out his speakers, and he was like, hey, maybe we can pull it back just like a little bit. Yeah, so anytime he was like, all right, unleash the crazy, full unhinged, here we go, that was really, really fun. Because you very rarely get to be characters that are like that bonkers on one end of their personality. And I also just kind of liked the conversational stuff in the Veshness route, where she's just like sitting down and having coffee talk with Takumi. Like, those were really interesting, because then you kind of get to see a side of her where she's not in battle mode. So she's not kind of being her all-encompassing, all-powerful, fight self. And it's just, you actually get to see little hints of her personality, which was really interesting to contrast with the moments where she is losing her shit. Yeah, I like all the layers. She's very layered.
The Veshness route was by far like one of my favorites in the game, so absolutely. I promise you this username is real for this next question.
Oh no.
This question comes from Old Man Pegger on Twitter, and they ask, was it more fun to voice Nigo or Veshness?
Yes. I don't know. They're fun for entirely different reasons. I love to play weird little guy characters, weird little cute, sidekick mascot characters. And I love to play completely batshit villains. Actually, I haven't gotten to play as many villains, so it was like a newer thing for me to be able to voice Veshness and really tap into like my evil Disney villain side. So maybe a little bit leaning towards Veshness being the most fun, because I hadn't done a character as purely evil as her. But I love Nigo so much. I love him. He's perfect in every way.
They also wanted to know, do you have any favorite characters in both the Special Defense Unit and the Commander cast, other than the characters you voiced?
Good question. Oh, I don't know. I like how different a lot of them are. I've been watching my partner playing through it right now. Because I'm like, I already got to see a lot of the script. You play it, and I'll watch you play. So he's playing through it. I like Kako a lot. She's quite funny. She reminds me of some of the characters on that TV show Glow, all the wrestlers. So I really like her. I like Darumi. They're just funny. And I like Takumi as well, because he's constantly in a like, what the f is going on? What? And I find that very relatable. A character who's constantly bamboozled and just trying to figure out what is happening at any time. Yeah. There's a lot of really good ones, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you think that to get into that maniacal headspace, is it more effective to be a method actor or a substitution actor?
I mean, to say if I was trying to be a method actor about it, then I would have to also be an asshole in and out of the studio and have a god complex. So it's definitely not method acting. It's more just, for me, it's tapping into my favorite characters who I think are similar to this one, and I'll pull little bits and pieces from characters that I go, oh, you know who she reminds me of a little bit. Like, I remember at one part there was some line where I can't remember what line it was, but whatever the line was reminded me of Scar from The Lion King, where he's kind of like being really condescending, looking at his claws, picking meat out of his teeth, and just like being I am so much better than you sort of asshole. So I was thinking about Scar while I was doing a line read. So it's things like that. I pick from other characters, or maybe pieces of myself now and then, and create a character out of bits and pieces of stuff like that. So it's not method. I'm not that crazy.
Do you have any, can you name some of the other characters that you were thinking about?
One of the other characters that I thought about, another Disney character, not so much when Veshness was being like truly evil, but just her sort of sarcastic, dripping way of talking, was Meg from Hercules. And just how unimpressed Meg was by everything, like, oh, please tell me more. Like that sort of, oh, yes, of course, you're very impressive. Does a name come along with all those rippling biceps? Like that sort of attitude. So I put that in as well.
I genuinely thought you were going to say Meg from Family Guy when you said Meg.
No, I don't think there's any Meg from Family Guy. Way more Stewie than Meg.
Can you explain how you prepared yourself for a day of being the villain? Like, was there any other, like, techniques that you used?
Sometimes I will wear, like, jewelry that I would associate with this character, or I'll wear something that makes me go, oh, yes, I think she would like this. Whether it's, like, earrings with swords on them, or something, like, some kind of sharp, protruding jewelry. But other than that, it's just kind of going over the lines on my way to the studio and thinking about what characters they remind me of, or thinking about what kind of a character I want to build from these lines. Yeah, just kind of getting my head in the game, really.
Got you. Did the directors or writers, I know you mentioned Tom Mitchell, I'm going to be interviewing him in a couple days, actually.
He's the best.
Did the directors or writers give you any special insight into the story or your characters to help shape your performance?
I mean, there was so much script and so much story that they just didn't have time to tell each one of us all of the information. When you're in the studio, it's kind of like, we have however many hours I've been slotted in to do this. We have to get through this script. I recorded something like over 1,300 lines or something for this game. And so there's time limits. There's slots we have to do stuff in. So we don't always get a lot of the backstory. They kind of just throw you in the deep end. And you have to just be able to think on your toes with the script. Sometimes lines are being added or changed as you're in the booth. And so you have to just be able to really keep up with it and almost improvise a little bit. So not a whole lot of preparation on that end. You really kind of are just making it up as you go along. And occasionally we would have to stop and ask for clarification, or like, who am I referencing? Who is it I'm talking about this? And then one of the devs would pipe in and go, that's a character we haven't talked about yet. Here's who that is. Here's the context. Okay, cool. And then we would go into it. But you don't get like a whole big, storyline or bios, or I didn't know what a lot of people looked like. I didn't know what Veshness looked like for a while until they found some pictures to show me. But yeah, you're just kind of making it up as you go along, doing your best to keep up with the devs and the directors and the localizer and everything. It's a team effort.
Was there any memorable direction or feedback you got that helped you nail a scene?
Memorable feedback. I don't know. In particular, it just kind of what I was saying before, the fact that Tom kept telling me to go bigger and to do it more, that helped me unlock those parts of Veshness that now I'm like, yeah, that's her. That's where it needed to be. So I'm glad we pushed that. And with Nigo, some of the sounds he makes that aren't necessarily lines, but like some of his reaction sounds were really fun for us to find and go, yeah, that's the one. That's the weird little noise we needed there. But it was just him being like, no, just keep making weird noises. Just keep making them, and then I'll tell you when to stop.
Got you. Was there a line that you went, this is goofy, but I love it?
Oh, like every single line. Yeah. There was so many lines where I was like, what is happening? What actually is this game? I don't understand. But then neither does the player as you're going along. It's like we were discovering the game as the player is discovering the game, just line by line, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. The whole experience was bonkers. Absolutely wild experience trying to keep up with that script. So yeah, just all of it.
So in the Veshness route, it's kind of implied that she has feelings for Takumi that I would argue goes beyond platonic love. Perhaps it's even romantic. So I'm curious if I could bounce some of the most popular pairings from 100 Line off of you, and we can do kind of a ship or skip. So how does that sound?
For Veshness?
Just in general.
Or just in general? Okay.
I did this with I did this with Min, and I did this with Sarah. So we're gonna do it with you now. Veshness and Takumi.
Yeah, ship. I love a good story arc where like a villain kind of gets a little bit soft for the good guy, and maybe discovers something about themselves for sympathizing with the good guy. And also whenever the good guy kind of goes, ooh, they're not wrong about the bad guy. And I think they did kind of meet a little bit more in the middle than you would have expected. So anything that makes you go, ooh, am I the bad guy for associating with? Ooh, I kind of agree. And I like that.
Veshness and Eito. She absorbs his hemoanima in one root, which that sounds very romantic.
Sure, in a way. Yeah, hey babe, let's absorb each other. Is very romantic. That would be a very intense ship. I would like to see where it would go, to be honest. It might go down the route of like even more evil or even more all-encompassing world domination.
They both hate humans, technically.
I know. So they've already got something in common. That's really the basis of a good relationship.
True.
They could cook for each other.
True. Takumi and Hiruko.
I don't know. I understand why people ship it. I definitely do. But I kind of want Takumi to be with someone who is a little more like him. Because I think he would get pushed around really easily. Or would get taken advantage of. And that would make me feel bad for him. So I'm going to pass on that, personally.
Fair.
But I understand why.
Darumi and Hiruko.
Yeah, let's let that happen.
So true.
You know what I mean?
And then Happy Pride. Eito and Takumi.
Yes, but only if it changes Eito. Do you know what I mean? But in that way, then maybe I should say no, because you shouldn't have to change yourself for a relationship, so maybe I should say pass. Pass. Happy Pride.
And then finally, the Killing Game Polycule. So that's Takumi, Darumi, Tsubasa, and Yugamu.
You know what? What, like as a unit?
Yeah, as a polycule.
As a whole unit.
Yeah.
If it works, it works. You've got different people to meet different needs. You can go in on rent easier with a polycule. So like I respect it, you know, I understand. So we're modern. Let's let this little modern family happen. Ship.
So goated. So this was just kind of more of a philosophical question than anything. I find myself wondering it as both like a writer and just a fan of the game. What do you think it would take for Veshness and the Futurans to make peace with the humans?
I don't know. Veshness doesn't seem interested in peace. It's like it's not something that is on her radar of something that she wants. And she's not gonna go for something if she doesn't want it. She's got speeches about determination and about like where she puts down Takumi for the fact that he's able to hop around and redo battles, and she's kind of like, that's cheating. If you know that you can just redo it later, then you're not putting yourself into it, and if you're not putting your whole self into a battle, then what are you doing this for? And I kind of think for her specifically, She doesn't want the piece. She wants it to go her way. So it would take somebody changing her mind about what her way should be and sort of making her think that peace was her idea all along in order for her to want to go that route, I think. It would have to be somebody very crafty.
If only there was like a red hair guy in a game like that.
If only there was someone.
Kadaka, please give us the peace route in the DLC that eventually
comes.
Please.
he is not playing around with all of his alluding to wanting to do more.
Please. So, sometimes you play multiple characters in the same project, so I'm curious, what's the secret to juggling multiple roles without mixing up the voices or personalities?
I mean, it's definitely a lot easier if we have images of the characters. If I can see a picture of the character that I'm voicing, and then pick a voice, and then I know what he looks like or she and know what they sound like, that's immediately helpful for me. I'm a very visual person. But other than that, I mean, as long as there's enough material for me to gauge what a character's personality is actually like, I don't know, it's not too tricky to keep them distinguished, because a lot of the times if you're voicing multiple characters in a game, they're often not very similar characters. They tend to be quite polar opposites, or like different species or different whatever, so that you can kind of go, okay, I can make him sound completely different from her and there's not going to be any confusion there. I think it's trickiest when the characters are similar. But that was not a problem for this particular game.
Got you. This next question comes from Twitter user Atsui Kazeni, and they said that Veshness says hope is the power to make the impossible possible, while Takumi says hope is the will to keep moving towards the future. Which do you personally agree with more?
Oh, they're both correct. To be honest, I like Veshness's version because, in my opinion, when you need hope, it tends to be a situation where something seems dire or something seems unattainable, and you need that glimmer of hope to help you believe that it's possible to get it done, or else you'll just give up. If you don't think something's possible, you're not going to try. So that hope is what keeps you going. Whereas Takumi's version is kind of just like, keep waking up and existing, and sometimes that's not enough. You know what I mean?
That's so true. Also, so I saw at the 100-line cast party you cosplayed Nigo, and
I did.
I've also seen that you cosplayed as a Portal from the Portal franchise in the past.
Oh yeah, that was a Halloween costume. Yeah.
So, is voicing a character an excuse for you to practice your cosplay making abilities, or do you just like to be whoever you want?
Oh, I mean, I'm a Halloween girly through and through, so any excuse for me to dress up or go to a costume party, I am there. I love a good costume. I'm certainly not like a seasoned cosplayer. I don't have the time or money to work on a good cosplay the way that some people do and are so good at it, and I really envy it. But if it seems like I could whip that together, I could pull something cool together and maybe do a little hand stitching here and there kind of thing, then yeah, I will absolutely do it. I love a good costume party.
That's so true. I love going to cons and cosplaying, so you're so true for that.
The Portal one was quite good because I managed to put, you know those glow sticks you can get at like parties, the like long ones that you can make into necklaces or bracelets? I had an orange glow stick and a blue one inside the Portal costume on each side so that I actually glowed. I was quite proud of it.
It looked really good. So, this is the last question, and then I promise you'll see the last of this Muppet. So, I have this grand plan to interview all of the 100-line voice actors, and it hit me that I could practically ask any question out there. It got me thinking about something that the Team Fortress 2 community did, which was to have all of the voice actors say their character name and then the word gaming. So I was hoping that we could get a couple renditions of Veshness Gaming and Nigo Gaming as something for the fans.
Okay. What kind of inflection do you want it to be? I need your direction here.
such a good question. For Veshness, I would just imagine that like she's just like I don't. See, I'm not Tom, so I don't know what's like.
You can do it.
I mean, okay. I guess for Veshness, like she just knows she's better than everyone who's watching this, but like she's not like disinterested or like she's not
nervous about it.
She's not nervous about it. She's not disinterested.
Yeah.
Like she's willing to do it, but like she knows she's better than everybody else on the planet.
Right.
And then for Nigo,
he's just Nigo.
He's just Nigo, yeah. So I mean, if you want to do Nigo first, and then we could do Veshness, it's all good. Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
So
all right.
And I'll let you know if it like your mic peaks or whatever. So take your time.
Okay. Here's Nigo.
Nigo Gaming.
Sounds good.
Is that all right?
Yeah,
Sound good?
I think so.
All right. Veshness Gaming.
Ladies and gentlemen,
right?
yes, ladies and gentlemen, Ashleigh Haddad. And so if this was Hot Ones, you know, Sean Evans would say, this camera, or this camera. But since I only have one, I'm just going to say, let the people know what you have going on in your life. Where can they find you? And are you going to any cons in the future at all, maybe?
Yeah, I'm actually, I'm probably going to be showing up to a couple more cons in the fall, late summer, fall. But the dates, I'm not confirmed yet, so watch my socials and I will announce as soon as I know which ones I'm able to go to. What else do I have going on? A lot of stuff that I can't talk about because of NDAs.
Please, anything that you can legally talk about, please, legally speaking. If there's not anything, that's okay.
I mean, a lot of video game projects are still under wraps, either haven't been announced or haven't come out yet, so I can't tack my name and say anything about them, but I've got a stack of them. So yeah, again, just follow me on all the socials and you'll see my announcements. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Blue Sky and Threads. I've got a Twitch channel. I don't stream very much. I've started hopping onto my... I don't. Here's the thing. I've got a Twitch channel. I like streamed for a Streamily signing, and then I hop on to join in the chat groups of my friends who are playing, or other voice actors who are playing games, so I can just creep in their chat and chat with them while they play. But I don't know if I need to figure out how to stream, or maybe co-stream with other voice actors. It's a possibility.
You absolutely should stream something. I know,
yeah,
there's
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm just not good at the tech stuff. It stresses me out. If someone else comes over here and pushes all the buttons, I'll do it. I just I don't know what I'm doing.
I got you. I got you. If you need, legit, like if you need help, like I stream on Twitch, I stream on YouTube, I make like I got
Great.
you. Don't even worry about that.
I can tell people I am on Cameo and I am on Streamily, and there's some pre-signed stuff. There's not 100-line material on Streamily yet, but I am working on it. But if people want commissioned cameos in the voice of their choosing, by all means, order a cameo from me, from Veshness, from Nigo, from whoever you like. And I love to do them for people. Thanks so much for the support and the outpouring of love for all the characters. Keep playing the game, keep encouraging other people to play the game, and enjoy every route as if it was your last. Thank you for watching this interview. Have you liked and subscribed yet? What are you waiting for?